Good evening, ladies and gentlemen and ladies. I want to thank you for coming out tonight. Tonight is a special night for me, for this channel. And I've been looking forward to this since very, very early Friday morning. I knew that I was getting close to hitting the 300 subscriber mark on Thursday when I went live. And I actually was actually looking forward to it before I went to bed, and thankfully, before I did fall asleep on Friday morning or Thursday night, Friday morning, I was I was had the opportunity to see my count, my subscriber count, tick over to 300. So tonight is all about thank you. Thank you for subscribing to me. Thank you for showing faith in me, taking the time to listen to me, taking the time to follow back, come back, even though you may not have agreed with what I said 100%. You heard me out, you heard my reasoning out, and you followed up with coming back. And that means a lot to me. It means the world to me that you think that much of me to come back and to join again or sit down and spend time, or even if you're doing laundry, folding laundry, or you're getting a workout in the evening, you tuned in and you listen. That means a lot to me. Tonight is a little bit different. I don't have a set agenda. And when I do these celebrate, I started when I hit 200 subscribers, I did the same thing. I didn't set an agenda. This is your show tonight. This is all about what you want to talk about, whether it be in the chat or you join me live on panel. That is completely up to you. But with few exceptions, that you're welcome to join me with the questions of what you want to do, what you want to talk about. Tonight is all up to you guys. Maybe there's something that I breezed over, and you have a question, you want to talk deeper about it. That's what tonight's for. You don't know. I didn't invite anybody specific, but you never know if somebody's going to pop in, and anybody is welcome to hit that link. And I'll probably say this again if I see some people that are other YouTube creators. They will always be, of course, also welcome to hit that link and join me on panel and talk, and we can talk about the different stories or different events that have happened surrounding true crimes or even current events. My goodness, there's been a lot going on in current events lately. Let's see here. Ursa Bruin dropped a message before we got started saying that she was looking forward to being here, looking forward to this. Thank you very much. Carrie and Cosplay, always my faithful, my faithful two that I have as mods. Thank you very, very much. You both have been with me, and a couple other people, as some people will say, they're day one people. Carrie and Cosplay and a couple other people have the distinction of what I call a day zero person. Day zero person is the people that have been with me since before I was a channel, before I decided to do a channel, always encouraging me, always saying, you have something special, you need to do your own channel. They get called my day zero people. They were the catalyst. Let's see here. Miss Justice, thank you very much for coming out. Good evening to you, and thank you very much. Very, very much. Let's see here. Am I missing anybody else? Pat Wicks. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. That means a lot. Saying that thank you for all you do. Bailey, thank you for coming out tonight. Spread love. Thank you very much. Anyone who loves summer the way that we do is my friend. So here's to you, my new friend. Spread love. Thank you very much. And that love in my heart, as much as I identify and I say that I am Wiccan, it's because not that I'm actually Wiccan. It's I have studied different theologies and things like that, and I really don't know what's right or wrong when it comes to theology. I know that at one time though, when I was married, I'm divorced, long time now. Um, I was studying to be a youth minister, and when I hear a story about a kid going missing, it absolutely breaks my heart. No matter how small the story, no matter how big the story, it breaks my heart. And that's why we focus on talking about kids when they go missing. Whether it be a 2-day old or a 19-year-old, in my mind, they're still children. It absolutely breaks my heart. And they deserve to be talked about. Hello, Sue Lawson. Thank you for coming out. Bailey, thank you very much. I appreciate that. Glad you found the channel. So am I. I really am. Let's see. So I'm not sure that it is the laws that are the issue, Bailey. It's I'll make it I'll make that point this way. It's going to sound like a weird analogy, but hear me out. Has the predator prey always been there? And now as news cycles speed up and we're becoming more hyper aware of behaviors that we have to guard children about, that the focus is being on that. Just like if you live in an area that's prone to tornadoes in major storms or bad storms, supercell storms, were they always happening? And maybe in areas that you may not have noticed. And now that radar technology has come to be so much better, that even if it was a little spin up or dust up tornado that hits out in the middle of a wooded area where nobody lives, but now that technology knows what to look for and is spotting them so much better, the signature is so much better that the amount of storms that are the produced tornadoes are increased. I actually believe it really is that. Yes, some laws have to catch up with time, but we're also becoming more vigilant a person to protect children. And believe me, I'm not saying there's anything wrong with making the laws tougher. I'm simply saying that we're just becoming more aware. We're becoming smarter as a society to say, hey, this is not an acceptable behavior. It may not have gone noticed before, but now we notice. And it's not right. I think that's they think that's a lot of things that happen in the world. Right. And Bailey, you're exactly right. It's very true. But they don't get punished enough. The horrible things that happen to children should be done to the responsible party. I'm not in favor of um I'm not 100% in favor of I believe it's Hammurabi. I'm probably going to mispronounce the name, so forgive me wrong. Forgive me right now. I'm going to say the name wrong. I think it's Hammurabi law. The idea of an eye for an eye and tooth for a tooth. It actually is considered Hammurabi law, if I have it correctly, and I'm not in favor of that. I'm in favor of let the punishment fit the crime. That is true. But you have to humanely do so. You still have, even though they did this horrible, incredible, stupid thing, the punishment still has to fit the crime. If it means locking them up away from society for the rest of life because they can't handle the norms of society, they can't handle what society says is right and wrong, then that's fine. But you have to go with guidelines of why and how you get to that point. I know that might not be a most popular answer in the world, but it's a truthful answer. And it is what our laws are based on. And I think they're justly based on that. Again, like I said, I'm not saying the laws don't need to be tweaked and improved. I'm saying they do. And it's going to take time to get there. But we have to do this justly. Let's see here. Of course, cosplay. Thank you for reminding. Please don't forget to like hit that like button. This is the subscribe button and notification bell. That way, you guys will know when I go live. Bailey is saying recently on Long Island there was a cop who abused his son. I think locked him in his garage and sprayed him with a hose at 17 degrees temperature. See now, okay, see that Bailey, in my mind, that should automatically be an enhancer to the punishment that person deserves. So just like if somebody we saw with with Alex Murdaugh, if you watched uh, um, uh, the sentencing, there was enhancers that he was found guilty of that tacked on an extra 5 years of time behind bars. There are certain things like that that should do the same. Amalua, thank you very much for coming out tonight. Spread love. I absolutely agree with. I actually have to say I agree. You know, there are some times when a person that has committed such a horrendous crime like um, I was watching a video on YouTube. It was it was a NHL pregame, and it was after the mass shooting that had been in Las Vegas, where 58 people had been killed, and they Las Vegas Knights did a huge ceremony. They were actually it was I believe their first season. They retired the number 58 in honor of the 58 that had passed away. That's just an explanation of what the ceremony I was watching. But that person that did that captured with the weapon that did that, they don't deserve to have a speck of daylight. Paint those windows black on the outside so they can't scratch the paint off. Person deserves not have a speck of daylight for the rest of their life. I that's my personal thing on just using that as example. So yes, there are times when things like that, I don't agree with. Say like I don't remember what country it is, maybe Thailand or something, some country in that general area of the world wherein they have laws that say about spray painting. The person gets caught spray painting, graffiti, or spitting gum, or defacing defacing property. They get caned. I'm not saying that crimes as simple as chewing gum or spitting out gum deserves this person to be caned. But there was a reason that public executions were done in the town square. The person's crime was made public as a warning to others who were thinking about or could possibly even dare to think about committing such a crime. Their punishment was done in the public in town square, so to deter future activities. So in some ways, even though I say people belong in jail, I think that their punishment and the proof of their punishment and the fact that a lot of states take off the death penalty is too light. Billy, I'm thinking. I'm glad you brought that up because that is brings up a topic I actually want to make sure is clear about my channel. I don't know how other channels do it. I've noticed that a lot of times they set an agenda, and if you're not on their agenda, they ignore you completely. Now, for right or wrong, that's how they want to do their channel. This channel, and when I say this channel, our channel, is not ever going to be like that. The channel's name is Conversations Living Room. When I changed my name to Conversations, to change the name of it to Conversations Living Room, it was exactly what it's supposed to be. It's the place where you can sit down, even if in your mind draw that you're sitting down on a recliner, you're sitting on a couch, but you're sitting on your favorite chair. This is the place, and it will always be the place that you can bring your opinion and not have a fear of we're going to say, oh no, we can't talk about that. We may not agree with what the preface or the outcome of the point is, but we're going to stop. We're going to take a look at it. We're going to talk about it. Mr. John Q, there's a link pinned at the top. Go ahead and grab that, please. I always want you to be able to bring your opinion to the conversation. Because it's how we get to a consensus, a stronger opinion, a better understanding of something that happened. Hello, Jennifer Nobles. Thank you very much for coming out tonight. I didn't see you earlier. Yeah, you slipped in the back door. Mr. John Q, how are you doing?
I'm doing well. I'm doing well. How you doing?
Oh, you know, I cannot imagine a better day. That's how I feel right now. Even though I have a small channel,
That's a big number.
Exactly, sir.
That's a big number. I remember when I got my number.
It was just 3 weeks ago, and I actually had looked back and through my analytics, and I try not to focus on them too much. I do watch them, but I don't focus on them. You know, it was 3 weeks ago, and I was not even 200. I was at like 192. And in 3 weeks, I've gone up 120 plus people.
There you go. You're putting in the work.
I'm trying. I really am trying.
Yeah, you're putting in the work. That's what happens when you put in work. A little boost here, little bump there. And before you know it, it's like, wait a minute, I got 1,000? Wait a minute.
Well,
15? Wait a minute.
John, one of my videos I had done, I believe it was 2 weeks ago now. And this then never, even the videos that we had done on my channel and the conversations we had, which if nobody knows John Q, please, Carrie or Cosplay, please drop his link. You need to check John Q out when he is live. Or even if he shows up on my channel another time and we get really deep into it. You want to talk about conversations going deep into it with a map? Whoa, you got the duo right here.
Yeah, we do get into it. Let me see who's up in here. Carrie Lawson is up here. How you doing, love? Bailey is up in here. You got Spread Love is up in here. You got Sue Lawson up in here.
Yeah.
You got, let's see, Miss Justice. My one and only, I tell you. Miss Justice.
Miss Justice, absolutely.
Yes, much love to you. She holds me down on my channel, that's for sure. Who said what is up in here?
Yes.
Right.
Who said what? Thank you very much for coming out.
Yes.
And who?
Yes, congratulations. Congratulations. You're getting stronger. You know, it's like building a muscle. Oh, yeah. You keep doing them push-ups, the muscle gets big.
Katie Kitty. There we go. There's another name I'm sure you've seen in your chats as well. Katie Kitty.
Katie Kitty, yes.
And who said what just reminded me, even though she didn't say anything. For those who don't know, I actually do have a Discord channel. If you want to get involved in that, we do have conversations in there that I do not bring onto YouTube. Just off topic or more conversations that may require a little bit more sensitivity than YouTube would like. You are welcome to always join us in my Discord, and or anybody's welcome to join me in my Discord and find out what conversations, sometimes the opinion that I don't bring onto YouTube, I show up in my Discord. So a little plug for that. If you guys are interested, you can always email me. My email is in it should be a part of the description of the page, or my about section, I should say. But anyway, John, I
So what are
appreciate you.
Yeah. So what are you about to get into tonight?
Well, tonight I really didn't set a topic. It's more of I'm letting the chat drive the topic. It's celebrating them for being with me and showing me support and love, and getting me up to above 300 subscribers.
There you
It's
go.
I'm letting them dictate within a scope. There are some things I won't. It's just not going to drive. Jive, or something I don't feel is appropriate, I'll not answer that, or I'll redirect that politely. But that's how I feel tonight.
Well, that's good. I'm glad that like I said, you're putting in the work, and when you put in that little bit here and a little bit there, you'd be
Absolutely.
surprised. You'd be surprised. You
Well,
know, I've I've been working I've been working behind the scenes, obviously, with a number of projects, and but I'll be going live tomorrow night, though. Jump on
um,
the channel and
I'll
say
be there.
hello to my folks.
I'll be there.
Yeah, I have to get back in on my schedule with Table Talk for the last couple of weeks. It's just been critical to get a couple of these projects off the table, and
Right.
then I can get my schedule back on.
Right.
So it's
and
been
and
like
that's exactly the position I'm in right now. It's like there's some transitions that are happening that I can't uh, really talk about much. It's like my company has been bought out by another company, and we've been going through that transition and getting ready for that to be completely taken over. So it's like things like that, and some stressful things. I've been just laying low, and just when I really get that itch to once or twice a week, like I said, I'm not going to be on 5-7 days a week. It's like
right,
2-3 times a week, and I limit myself to that. But at the same time, that makes our lives that much more important and interesting, because we pack it with information. We don't just tease information.
right. Well, I mean, and likewise, I only go live when I have something I would like to share. And
Mm-hmm.
usually, if it takes me a week or two, that I'm behind the scenes putting together something that, is going to come and create a very valuable live, you know.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So, and like you're able to do the same thing on your channel. Go live when you have something important to say, especially if it's about Summer Wells, and you'll
Oh
go
yes.
live and have some very good content to put out.
Oh yes. Yes. For those who do not know, I live less than 10 miles from where Ben Hill Road is. So I'm very, very, very tapped into what goes on around the area. And there's sometimes I can come up with things like, let's put it this way. And I'm not going to knock any creator when I say this, but what I'm about to say to you may make some person's jaw drop. I did not notice something about the 911 call until just today. Now, the 911, when I say 911 call, folks, please, I'm meaning the dispatch call.
I knew
There
what you
was
meant. I knew what you meant.
Oh, I know you did, but I want to make sure for the chat or anybody that might be on a replay and that. Oh, wait a minute, what did he say about the call? Wait, scratch your head. No, no, no. I mean the dispatch call.
Mm-hmm.
As a local, I heard a bit of information and had been saying the bit of information as if I thought that it was actually on the dispatch call that Broadcastify recorded. But actually having a police scanner living where I live, I heard a bit of information different than what Broadcastify recorded.
Hmm.
They did not capture that there was a police officer on Light Hollow Road who immediately out of the first description of Summer Wells being a 4-year-old child was within minutes. And I mean minutes, I mean less than 5 minutes.
That was before they put out
Patrolling.
the other alert about the two other kids being on the road.
Yes.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
5 minutes. He was out patrolling because he was on Light Hollow Road.
And that's nothing but a little bit of a stone throw away.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. Could not have taken him 5 minutes. Even if he was at the top of Light Hollow Road, he could have gotten down to Beach Creek Road and start patrolling within 3 minutes. To be honest,
Right.
I heard it on the police scanner as a local. Broadcastify never captured that. I was blown
Really?
away when I heard that today, and I
Wow.
never paid attention to that before. Kitty, there was 2 other kids that were out playing by a metal factory. I don't remember the name of it right off the top of my head. I'd have to go back and look at a map to find the name of it. But it's not. It's for the length of time that Summer had been missing. It's not a. Well, the description just didn't match up.
Right. Right.
It was 2 kids and not just one little 4-year-old girl, because at that
Mm-hmm.
point, it was still only known that Summer was 4 years old. It's one of the 6 different descriptions of Summer Wells that was out within the first 24 hours. Where's Summer? Thank you for coming out. And yet Don got there before any cops. No, he never did. He never had the chance of getting there before a police officer misjustice. That is a fabrication that he made up. What he is referring to is what happened approximately 7-11 that evening, where they started staging having a staging scene at Mount Carmel, and the fact that finally the cops went to the residence and started talking to the family, and in the dispatch call, in the dispatch information, 302 is the shift supervisor. 302 requests that the officers search the house. Do not forget the attic and do not forget the camper.
Right.
Does anybody in my chat know why? Or Mr. John, do you know why? They specified the attic and the camper.
Well, they should have also specified the refrigerator too.
Right, but do you know why
Well, you
they
figure,
specified those 2 locations?
yeah. I mean, well, you figure you got a 4-year-old running around somewhere. You know, little kids, when they play hide and seek, they go into places that are unusual. You know, if they have an attic, check the attic. If they have a basement, check the basement, and
Mhm.
likewise, and so on. So, just a very interesting comment to say check those two places, though.
Right. But here's why. Back in October, when Don Wells had been arrested for the DV and the gun possession, when the officers came, he was hiding in the attic.
Well, it must have been the attic portion where the shed is.
That's where they had to find him.
Hmm.
And little Dev, hello. I apologize. I saw you come in, but I didn't say hi to you. Hello. Thank you for coming out tonight.
I know, and I'm saying not the shed down where Beach Creek is,
No,
but the
this
shed
is
where the driveway is.
this is like a attic like you would find in like a mobile home, where it's more of an access crawl space type of deal.
Right, right. Hmm.
Where you can get to some wiring that may be running across the trailer or the
You
uh,
think you think Donna's going to fit up in big old Don?
no, no, but a 4-year-old could, a
Yeah,
5-year-old could.
yeah. But yes, it was very interesting why they made that comment, And yeah, kids get into areas of curiosity.
Mm-hmm. Yep. A 4-year-old, 5-year-old kid can fold up into a space if they have to of a small suitcase, if not a briefcase.
Yeah, little Summer's what, 40 pounds and
5 years old and 40
3 feet
pounds
tall,
exactly.
about three
Yep.
feet tall. So, and she's, very, very petite.
Here we go. Here we
Yeah.
go. Miss Carrie Lawson, always on the spot ahead of
There you
time.
go. There you
Had the
go.
description already ready in the chat, and there we go. Summer Moon, Utah Wells, white female, blonde hair, blue eyes, 40 pounds, 3 feet tall.
And
And this description,
the person who knows what happened to her to this day has not said a thing.
exactly.
Not said one thing. Her story puts her in the box, and she didn't realize that though, but that's what it did. Put her in a box, and everyone nationwide, maybe even worldwide, that saw the Dr. Phil show knew what he was going to be doing, having both Don and Candace up on his show with the behavior panelists sitting in the audience,
Mm-hmm.
And up until he said to her, "Do you think you know something that you know you may have forgotten, or you think you don't know?"
Absolutely. So
You
here,
know,
Katie Kitty asks a great question. And did you hear, asks me, but did you hear the part of the broadcast, if I call, where it says, is the suspect still on scene? I don't believe that actual call was related. I would have, unfortunately, I'd have to get the anybody's uncut version of it. But if my memory serves me correctly, there was something else going on in Hawkins County at the same time that officers were responding to. Priority was on Summer Wells, but I believe there was something going on, also like a attempted break and enter or something like
yeah,
that
there was
along those lines.
simultaneous situations going on when they got that
Right,
call. Yeah.
right. Yeah, they had something else going on at the time, I believe. I like I said, to verify that, I'd have to listen to like an uncut version of the call, and I think it would actually go into the previous half hour before the 911 call happened. But and like there was also in the middle of it where they were announcing the funeral of a firefighter captain for, I think it was Churchill at the same time. It was a scheduled broadcast, type of deal that they had to make. So it's like there was a couple other things going on at the same time. I'll have to check it out, Katie. Kitty, thank you. I'll definitely try to find that on her channel. Charlie K, hello. How are you doing? I haven't seen you in a while. How's everything going with you?
Charlie K is up in the building. Little Dev, excuse me. My bad. Little Dev is in the building too.
Yes. Little Dev. So here's the thing. Going purely on my gut instincts, I don't think CPS knew about Summer until Summer went missing.
Yeah, not at that time.
There was a case that had to do with the boys, and of course, you're not going to find any information. Cleaning, brushing teeth, and bathing was not a high priority for that household.
And it could have been related to what had happened back in October.
Yes. See, that's the thing.
Yeah.
I believe it is tied into that.
Yeah. Because that would be the only reason why they would have known about Don and Candace at that time, because I'm sure that, once Donald was arrested, for what was it, DUI? I think it was a DUI or something like that.
Yes.
And something with a firearm. I think he had
the DUI was, he was already on probation because of the DV and having a firearm when he was already a felon.
Right. Yeah.
So that resulted in him getting the probation. The break of probation was the DUI.
Right. Yeah, so, it wouldn't surprise me if CPS was involved at that time, being that, obviously the police and CPS share information wherever their children.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So my chat noticed that you had made yourself some hot tea or coffee there.
Don't start. Don't start. Don't start.
Oh, come on. We know you can't do without your hot tea or coffee,
Definitely don't start. Because we'll go about another 10, 15, 20 minutes with just on that topic alone,
I know, and I'm not going down that road of mentioning that.
I'm telling you, I'm still in trouble for that one.
I'm not going down that road of mentioning that. I'm just saying you were making some hot tea or coffee. That's all I said. Charlie K, no, I did not. And no, I know
you just stirred up Miss Justice. Just stirred her up. Look out. She will never let me live that down no matter what. So you'd have to get off of YouTube, John, for me to forget anything about how you like your coffee.
Like I said, we're just going to have a good time tonight, so I'm not worried about it.
Man.
Charlie K, no, I knew you had started your own channel, and of course, congratulations on that. I didn't know you had gotten to 300. Congratulations to you as well. It's actually going past a year since I've had my own channel. Now, granted, I know that sounds like weird that it's 300 and that's been a year, but don't forget, I also had to take a hiatus for a couple months in there. a few months for work purposes. Let's see here.
Yeah, and definitely, folks, don't forget daylight savings time tonight. We spring
Yeah.
forward.
I was going to mention that at the end of my chat tonight, but thank you for mentioning that.
I took
I
that away
reminded
from
people.
you.
I reminded people at work today, and they were like, "Oh, I forgot it was that." Yeah, you know. Let's see here. So, Charlie, hey, again, congratulations on getting 300 yourself. We all got to do things at our own pace. So, yeah, it's great to hear that. Let's see here. They knew about summer because the protection order that Candace got out was also for the boys and summer. Um, I'm not saying that the protection order didn't include summer. I'm simply saying that it's very difficult to find birth records for summer. It's very difficult to find information to say that she was born in either Rogersville or she was born in the hospitals in Kingsport or anything like that. Um, so when I'm saying that CPS may not have known about her, is that the records are not clear on where she was born or if there is a birth certificate or anything like that. So it's very confusing and muddled about that. Let's see here. Tracy, I know. It's 5 days, less than 5 days now. Today's the 11th, 4 days, and it's going to be 21 months. It's
Yeah,
I wish that they would have found her by now. I really do.
yeah.
See,
Going
but
back to what
summer,
I was saying, Candace knows exactly what happened. There wouldn't have been, and just in my mind, from her own narrative, there wouldn't have been no way in the world she couldn't know.
Kitty, I'm just going to say this about what you're saying. I think I understand your point that you heard a young child's voice, but be careful the pitfalls that have been going around with that because it's not what some people are trying to make it out to be. There is a young child, but you can't decipher if it's a young boy or young girl or anything like that. And I'm not saying you can't hear her on the 911 call. I'm simply saying that there's issues with records. And if there's not birth records, then it's possible that CPS was not aware of her as far as the boys being in school and maybe a teacher filing a complaint or extenuating from the DV incident in October, when they were really at that point worried about is the household safe for the kids as far as they're not being exposed to DV situations of themselves.
And
Okay, so
and and you can just think too that CPS would have had regularly scheduled checkups,
right.
of the home, of the kids, where they slept, how they were being treated, how far up the garbage pails were, and the cleanliness, the sanitariness, and everything. But once again, you kind of figured when Summer went missing, and Chris McDonough, who made a trip to that location, 110 Ben Hill Road, takes us not only to the property, but takes us inside the house. And
Mhm.
to have seen it that way, what would you think CPS would have done had they known that house was in such disarray?
Well, I think that if CPS had been able to, and I'm not saying it's of their fault because it's well documented that when they try to do any sort of spot inspection or have an appointed show up time, that they would all of a sudden just disappear from Ben Hill Road. They
Mm.
wouldn't be in. They couldn't get into the building, into the house. So, not to the chagrin or the fault of CPS. Um, Everything we know that has happened would have never happened
Hmm.
because they would not have been able to, by law, allow them to stay in that household.
Yeah, precisely. And that's why they came, what was it, 2 weeks after someone went missing? About almost 3 weeks? And then
Uh,
took the boys?
right. Well, they had opened up an investigation
Right,
officially
right,
when I'm going to say it's coincidental. No, not coincidental. My apologies. It was hand in hand with the Amber Alert.
right.
That they opened up an investigation and were back at Ben Hill Road, interviewing the parents, interviewing the kids, as if it was a brand new case all over again.
Mm-hmm.
I believe this comment is for you, John, not for
What's that?
me. I'm a little bit behind in the chat here, so you have to forgive me. But Miss Justice was saying, memory like an elephant. Let's see here. Okay. Kathy Marsh, my apologies. The metal factory, the metal plant is north of 347. It's on the west side or just off of west side of Bays Mountain. I don't remember what road it's on, but it is I believe it's actually in Sullivan County, not in Hawkins County. It falls just on the east of the border between Hawkins and Sullivan County. But there is a place there that is a metal factory. Most families don't get other children's taken away and kept away. That's a very fair point, Bailey.
Yeah.
But we're not dealing with we're not dealing with most families or the average family. We're dealing with the Wells,
Yes.
and that it has a special marker in society that no family should have to bear.
Susan McMillan has joined us from northeast of England in the UK. Hope everyone is well. Much love to you, Susan. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you for catching me up in chat there a little bit, John. I'm not ignoring anybody's comments, folks. I'm just got so far behind, I got to skip forward a little bit here. Susan McMillan, thank you for coming out and joining us. Another person that has recently joined, became a sub of mine. Let's see here. Tracy Day, how sad. The children had no privacy or personal space, not many creature comforts or even basic needs. Thank God they're out of that hellhole. Tracy, I cannot say this enough. I 100% agree.
Took the words right out of my mouth. I fully agree with that.
And yet, Don Wells complains that his boys are in state custody and living high on the hog. Does anybody not understand that he's complaining that his kids are doing better than he is, as they should be? It's what Don Wells actually complained about.
And Don complains about just about anything.
Right, but his wording is that they're living high on the hog.
Yeah, well, they're in a much better place than where they were, hands down. Had he done his job as a father, and if Candace has done her job as a mother, they wouldn't even think of even saying anything like that because the kids would be with them. So with Summer, she wouldn't have went missing.
Exactly. But I want the chat to understand there is two meanings behind the phrase high on a hog. One, it can be used as a derogatory phrase. And I'm just being honest, it can be used as a derogatory phrase, especially here in the South. And then there's the other phrase, which I honestly believe that Don Wells was complaining about, that his children were not living at his home and were being taken care of very well. Like when they sat down and had supper, it was a good, well cooked supper that a growing child should deserve to have. Balanced plate. You had veggies, you had fruits, you had a good cut of meat on the on if of whatever kind of meat they were eating.
Well, on what table?
Their foster
Where
care,
was
the
the
foster,
table?
right? But yeah,
Not,
well, okay,
not at their house.
not at the Wells house. Yes,
I didn't see a table there. I saw a whole bunch of other stuff, but I didn't see no table.
right. But the point being is that they the phrase "high on the hog," being high on the hog in this situation was that while they're in foster care, they're actually being taken very well care of.
But I know what you mean now. I know what you mean.
And he's complaining that his children are being taken well care of.
Mm-hmm.
In fact, he should be out there making the statements of saying, "Thank you. I don't know the foster families' names. I can't know the foster families' names. Thank you for taking great care of my boys." Regardless of him having a gag order or not, if he's making that kind of statement on social media, I think the judge is going to say, okay, that's one I'm going to go ahead and overlook at because you're actually being respectful and saying thank you.
Mm-hmm. BB Diamond is in the building. Hello, love.
Lee Ray Aldrich, thank you also for coming out. Where summer, 1-800 TBI find. Candace Bly has had 7 children and have had every single child taken away from her because of 3 different states of Department of Child Services removed them, and 1 is still missing.
Yeah.
Enough said.
Yep.
And well said. Very well said.
And that's sad. Just to even read that and then have it reflect off of her, associated with her. That you had 7 kids in your life, children that you helped to bring into this world. And now you don't have not a one of them. Not a one.
Mm-hmm.
And she doesn't seem to have any kind of emotional, what is the word I'm looking for?
Displays of emotion.
Yeah, displays of emotion or just something that exudes that she truly loves and cares about her kids
She does.
as compared to what she has been doing or in the past on YouTube with Don.
Oh, she does.
Both of them.
She does. She
You know?
does display emotion. But when she does so, she has to take on the mantle of or the mindset of the disruption or what this is doing to the boys, how this is affecting the boys, not that it's affecting Summer or what has happened to Summer. It's when she starts to dwell on the boys and what they're going through, that's when she gets emotional.
Yeah, but I think the majority of the time her emotions are displaced.
Well, yeah, right, but that's what I'm saying as well.
Yeah, yeah.
It shouldn't be having to say, "Oh, woe is the boys." The boys are at that point or that time were right there in the household, playing in the yard. And outside of the very first interview with WJHL, when Don starts making that stupid statement, it's the only time she has an emotional reaction to anything related to Summer directly. You know what
and
stupid
and a
statement I'm
couple
making,
of
referring to, right?
yeah, and a couple of other times, when the behavior panel asked her a specific question and she broke down and walked off the set.
Mm-hmm.
Dr. Phil, same thing, broke down, walked off the set. Where you got the impression of someone withholding, almost went over, but withholding. And it's every time I looked at those different situations where you had people just trying to ask those questions, you know, uh, she would, you could feel some kind of a wall go up, emotional
Mm-hmm.
wall go up with her.
She was
You know,
deflecting.
yeah, yeah. You saw it in her eyes, you saw it in her face. But if you kept on pushing, kept on asking, kept on grinding, she would change the subject, she would deflect, and if she couldn't take it anymore, she would boom, shut you down, either
Yep,
walk off or jump off YouTube.
exactly. Katie Kitty, I did highlight your comment here. I'm going to mention that I only heard part of that last night. And from what I did hear, I can't disagree. They were on another YouTube channel last night, openly defiant of the gag order, and you could tell that their emotions were not in check. And it appeared that they had been drinking or enjoying
Oh,
their Friday night a little bit too much
this was recent.
last night.
Ah, you see what I'm saying? You see what I'm saying? And it's hard to believe these people when they open their mouth. I mean, going this long. It's incredible.
Lorray Aldrich, and I agree with 100%. It's they need help, and what they need help with is time to dry out and counseling of how to stay dry.
Mm.
And neither one of them want to pursue it. Lee Ray Aldrich. I truly don't believe that Ronnie Lawson nor the TBI has gave it their full attention that it should not have been given, or that should have been given. It has almost been, it's almost 2 years now, and they can't tell nothing.
Right.
I said this.
What they did tell, check this out. During this whole entire investigation, Summer Wells case, what we did find out is that something crept out of Ronnie Lawson's closet. His son.
That is true. That is true. This
Of
this
all
this
things,
did
too.
put a spotlight on that.
Yeah, of all things for his son to be, wait a minute. You got daddy investigating a missing child's case and all this, surrounding information related to what Don might have been doing. Your son is doing?
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah.
I said, take him off the case. He's compromised.
I don't disagree.
Let TBI, let what is her name? Earhart.
Leslie Earhart. Yeah.
Yeah, let her take 100% over because how and compromised how long from the very beginning,
Mm-hmm.
and yet we find out that a little bit down the road something fell out the closet. I'm like, oh no, it couldn't have gotten any better than worse.
I had said about a year ago. I had said about a year ago that I believe they were waiting for just a couple more things to fall into place, and that this was going to go to a grand jury, and then that 4 adults surrounding the Ben Hill area is going to land up with true bills returned. I can honestly say that today I feel that there is, and I believe there's only one more thing they're waiting for. They prefer to find Summer and use and have Summer as evidence. But I believe the DA is actually ready to go to grand jury. He is trying to wait till they find Summer.
Yeah, you and I talked about that before. Yeah. Yep.
I honestly believe that's exactly where we are, folks, with this. And like I said, I said this. I want to say it was a year ago, because at the time I remember we were talking about a grand jury being held in June. So, and I believe it was, about 5-6 weeks or so before that, that we said it. But I think we're there.
Yeah,
I honestly think we're there.
They just don't want to, shortchange themselves for such a long investigation too.
Exactly.
And
And
they
that's
can
why
drop negligence, they can drop child abuse, they can, they can stack them, but without truly knowing the whereabouts of Summer,
mm-hmm.
The final piece that could, rock this case lock, stock, and barrel,
right,
is to know where she is, what happened to her.
Oh, exactly.
Did you guys do something to her? Where is she at?
Exactly.
Who did you give her to? Who did you give her to? Was it for a drug habit? Was it for a debt? Who did you give Summer to? Where did you take her?
Right.
And that's what bothered me. And, listening to Don on another channel led me to Chimney Top Loop.
Mm-hmm.
I said, well, what did he go over there? Out of all the places in the world, he could have shown us, he shows us this, and they could have taken her here. And it's a stone throw over the mountain. And you can get over there in about 15, 17 minutes, give or take. And it's a big loop, all residential, spaced out residential, with 220.8 acres of land, all in one land mass. That's nothing but undeveloped land with electrical lines and all this other stuff. What did you go over there for, Don? Who do you know over there?
Right.
And that's why I went digging and searching. And hopefully,
we both did.
Yeah, you were there. You were on my channel during that time. And I said, well, why don't they put out a search effort, a Chimney Top Loop in that undeveloped area? It's 220 acres out there.
And one of the very first questions you asked me, and I still remember to this day, I know exactly why you asked me.
Mm-hmm.
And you were trying to find out how well I know my area. And you might have not been like consciously doing so, but you were. And we had talked and you brought up a map, and you're like, let's take a look at this area. And as soon as I saw Chimney Top Loop, I said to you, I don't drive. I'll be honest, I do not drive, so I'm not 100% familiar with this area. But I know there's an old schoolhouse back there that Kingsport still keeps up on maintenance with.
Mm-hmm.
And that's how you and I that's when you and I melded. Like I said, those who don't know.
Yeah, we went deep.
For those who don't know the background between John Q and I, it was through Miss Q and another channel that's no longer existing. I got introduced to Miss Q, and we were talking about how I had discovered a problem with Michael Vaughn, his disappearance story, that the following day they were going to be closing his reward fund.
Right.
And we started just between the channel that doesn't exist anymore and Miss Q's channel, we just went from that channel and to the larger channel, and we just continue to talk about Michael Vaughn. And we went on for a few hours for a while, most of a Sunday afternoon into the evening. And I'm sitting there playing around with the map and looking at Google Maps and things like that. And they found out that's what I was doing. And they're like, oh, you've got to meet John Q and talk to John Q. You guys are so like-minded.
Yeah,
And that's how we got connected to know each other.
we made some noise. Miss Q made a lot of noise
Mm-hmm.
and actually interviewed Michael Vaughn's mom, had her on her show, on her channel, and word got out, and we stayed up on top of it, and just kept digging at it, and all of a sudden, before we knew it, they put an extension on the timeline.
Mm-hmm.
So I said, there you go. There's one that's one for us.
Exactly.
That's one for us, to try to keep the case alive, let people know that other folks out here truly care. We don't have to be related as family, but guess what? We
Mm-hmm.
are connected. We are all spiritually connected, no matter what color we are. We're here all at the same time, living on this planet called Earth. It's not coincidental, but it's a blessing.
Right.
And if we can't look after one another, as spiritual beings, because we all believe in God in some way, shape, or form, no matter what name you call God,
Mm-hmm.
we're all spiritually connected. That's what keeps us alive, so that's
Exactly.
our responsibility. So that's what we share here on our channels on YouTube. When it comes to these missing children, domestic violence, child abuse, all these different stories that come up, starts to touch our heart because we have children, and it's reflective, and so we begin to feel our spiritual selves connecting with that particular story, that particular family, that particular party, and want to do everything that we possibly can do within our power to try to help, because we wouldn't want that on our family.
So I'm going to jump to it again. My chat in here in Streamyard jumped a little bit, and I didn't scroll. But ironically, Lorraine Aldrich, this jumped out at me, and I'll be honest. Not 2 hours ago, one of my mods and I were having this exact conversation. Lorraine, you said in the chat, has anybody ever wondered why they kept H's phone for so longer? I wonder what was in there. The reason I kept it there, it was kept for so long. And this is something, and I'm not trying to say, hash back and say, we've already talked about this. I'll talk about it 1,000 times if I have to. This goes back to, I believe, 3 months after Summer went missing, when it came out that not only was H's phone kept, but it was at that point rumored that, and the rumor turned out to be true. Now, whether or not what type of phone they got, I don't know. But Don and Candace Wells had to replace their phones as well. And they had complained that when they had done so, that information for their phone was missing.
Yeah.
They never got their phones back either. It wasn't just H's phone. It was Don and Candace's phone as well. And the reason that information was missing from them, that the police would have been able to sever the connection to the cloud or the iCloud or whatever service they had. And whatever limited information that they would have allowed, like some pictures or things like that, outside of phone records, GPS locations, or things that could be altered that they needed as evidence, that is the only information they would have been able to get from the cloud. onto their new phones. So it actually makes a lot of sense when you step back and say, "Oh wait, Don and Candace's phones were kept as well." But as much as Don B is reporting today that Candace would have used or possibly used H's phone, and that's why they kept it. We talked about when it was only 3 months old. That is what had to happen, and there was either some sort of illegal search for contacts of that would have been dealing, or that they were trying to make a connection at the park for those illegal items to be ascertained, shall we say. But Hunter's purpose on the 15th was not only proof of life, but it was also for, I personally believe there was another purpose with the phone. But again, don't think for 1 second that Candace and Don Wells' phones were not taken as well. And they have never gotten those phones back. They had to replace their phones as well. They coincidentally said that they had opportunity to upgrade the phones, but they never received those phones back. They had two different sets of phones. One was a burner phone. One was either a pay by month or a contract phone.
Yeah, I remember one being a burner phone.
So that actually did happen back then. I don't know if that clears it up or answers any of your questions or raises more questions. I always hope that if you get on something like this, that if you're onto something, which you are, Lorraine, I hope that actually in this case it raises more questions for you to search.
Absolutely. Because when you have two people being asked by the FBI, is this all the timeline y'all got for that day's activities? Y'all, did you kind of forget a few things here and there? Why don't you guys go back over your timeline again? Because it's too wide. And so, and the more we all went over that timeline, from the time they left in the morning up until the time they dropped Grandma off to the hospital to have the doctor take a look at her knee, going over to Warrior State Park, coming back. I was scratching my head. I said, well, Candace, didn't you forget something? I said, if you dropped your mother off at the hospital, what time did you pick her back up?
Yeah.
Because she never mentioned whether she stayed long enough or what time, if she did stay, how long it took for her mother to have went with them to Warrior State Park. But yet we don't see her mother at Warrior State Park. We know Candace is moving around with the cell phone. We know Summer's there. We know H is there.
Mm-hmm.
We know a flower was there. We know the dirt was there. The water was there. The tree in the water was there.
The quick mud is there.
Yeah. Where's Grandma? When did you pick her up from the hospital?
Mm-hmm. Because the original story with that is that, and I'm not calling anybody out. I recently had comments on this, so if you've seen the comment, don't point the finger at the person. It's a thing where we have to agree to disagree on. They were saying that it's not possible. They did not leave the park to go pick up a grandma, but they did. They left the park to go pick up grandma. They dropped off grandma at the hospital. The original plan there was going to wait at the hospital, but I happen to have a video that we're going to take a very quick look at, which is going to explain my point.
RJ's got a video, y'all. Uh-oh.
This is a video that I took.
Country Christian. Good to see you.
This is a video that I took, and remember I had said in my last live or a couple lives ago, I had help from Miss Carrie Lawson, who was going to be in Kingsport on June 15th this past year. She went and took me around a few places in Kingsport, and we investigated firsthand of where they were in Kingsport on June 15th.
All right. Yeah, because that bothered me. I'm like, okay, what time did you pick mom up? She left it out.
Right. So I don't. It's not so much that we're taking a look at the time frame or anything like that. What I'm showing you here is the emergency room that they would have gone to, and the access of the emergency room.
Right. I remember this. I remember this clip now. Yeah, yep. This is good. This is good stuff.
We are parked in the middle of the parking lot outside of the emergency room, emergency room. For as many cars that you can see parked in front of us is the same amount of cars that are parked to our left and our right and behind us. There is no more space to park at the emergency room. There's like another row of cars to the left, and another row of cars to the right. But there's no more space. So we're talking about a 5-year-old child, and I'll repeat this, and I firmly believe this, with a mother that does not have natural instincts of being a mother, in a vehicle, trying to be there to wait for the grandmother to be finished at the hospital.
This is June 16th, 2022.
That's what I titled it, but it was actually June 15th. I don't know why I titled June 16th.
Okay. And the other thing too, I'm sure that probably slipped Candace's mind that emergency areas and hospitals,
mm-hmm.
they got cameras.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
They got cameras.
This is the place that they were at before they went and picked up Hunter, and then went over to Warrior State Park, folks. And while I'm like have my camera pointed dead at the emergency room, there is no place, no grass area here, or to let a kid go out and go running around. They would have been stuck in that car. Has anybody ever been in a car with a 5-year-old where that 5-year-old had nothing to do? I love kids, but I'm not going to plan something for a 5-year-old to have not plan it out that the 5-year-old doesn't have something to do, because their natural antsiness is going to end up getting them in trouble. And if you're a parent that doesn't have natural instincts, it's going to be a heated situation. This is where H comes into play. That Summer adored H. H would spend time with her, do things with her on her intellectual level. He didn't care that it wasn't a typical teenager thing to do. He did it.
RJ, let me ask you this.
Yes.
On Candace's timeline, she said she left the house, right?
Mm-hmm.
Early in the morning, right after Donald left.
Right.
Right. Where did she go first?
Information I have, or information as I know it, would have been directly here.
To the hospital with grandma, right?
Yes. Then it was They supposedly left their house in Ben Hill Road at 7:30 in the morning, which would have put them here approximately 8 a.m.
Okay. Okay. From the hospital, what was the next stop?
Pick up H.
So that leaves who in the car with Summer?
Candace and H.
Now, if they were left the hospital to go to H's house to pick him up, he's not in the vehicle, is he?
Well, okay. My apologies. I thought you meant at the point where they went to H's house.
Right.
And
No,
then
I'm
went to
saying,
the Warrior State Park. But at the point where they were here at the hospital, when grandma went into the emergency room, it would have been Candace and Summer.
there you go. And now from the hospital to H's house was approximately how much time?
This is one of the shortest trips of the day. It would have taken tops 10 minutes.
10 minutes. 10-minute pop ride, right?
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. Now they pick up H. So grandma's here at the hospital. She's in the emergency area. Usually, they have you wait because they don't take everybody in the moment you walk through the doors. You got to register. You got to do a little triage. They take your temperature, your vitals, and all this other stuff, and they have you sit for a bit until the doctor shows up.
Right. Without saying a specific word because it's so highly scrutinized, this is in the middle of the ick. Let's remember that. This is in the middle of the ick that went around.
Mm-hmm. All right. So they put Candace and Summer in the mom's vehicle, or was it Candace's vehicle that she drove? Do we know? Because Don took the Subaru, so she would have had to have driven his truck.
I think it was the Suburban they took that day.
Suburban, okay.
I think. Now, if Carrie Lawson, if she corrects me, please go with what she says because I'm just for some reason I was reading Pink Butterfly's comment here at the same time, and I was just thinking the Suburban for some reason.
Mm-hmm.
And we're going to jump to what Pink Butterfly says here in just a second here, which it factors into exactly what we're talking about. I don't know what the hurry is to go to the emergency room. It's open 24/7. No appointment for ER. Correct.
Right.
But in the middle of the ick, she was actually aiming to go to a clinic, an orthopedics clinic, because of testing, because of precautions, and PPE that would have been needed to use by the personnel, both for the patient and the hospital or the prescriber or the physician. The hospital had that stuff, so the clinic was being held in the hospital.
So they go pick up Hunter. From Hunter's house, she says that she changed Summer into a bathing suit. After that, Hunter asks his mother, could he hang out with Candace and Summer to go to Warrior State Park?
Yes. So, BB Diamond, if you go directly from the hospital to the emergency room, you're right. It would probably about approximately 20 minutes. But going to H's house, banking down some back roads, it would have cut that time down to 10 to 15 minutes to get to the park.
Mm-hmm. So they go to the park and spend about 20 minutes there, according to Candace.
They were there more than 20 minutes at the park.
Yeah. Uh-huh. Okay. And so they leave Warrior State Park. Candace puts Summer in, I guess, a school outfit.
Yes, that was the outfit that in the picture that she was supposed to be wearing for her first day of school.
Okay. And they come back to the hospital. here to the emergency to pick grandma up.
Yes.
And then they go to the smoke shop, and then they go to the other places. I think there were two other places, right?
There's more than two.
Or three places I think they went to. Now they're all together.
Five.
They're all together now, you know.
There was a total of 5 places.
5 places. Look at that.
They supposedly, and I'm going to throw supposedly out there because we have not seen, nobody has seen proof from security footage that they were ever at Sonic. Nobody's come forward.
You knew exactly where I was going.
Nobody has come forward with any sort of footage from security cameras. If you've ever been to a Sonic, if you live in the Southeast, you've been to a Sonic. They have security cameras everywhere, every angle. If you pull in there and pull into one of their carports and put an order in, you're on at least 3 cameras.
They got cameras at Sonic's. They got cameras at the CBD. They got cameras at the little mini mart they went to. I mean, but yet nothing confirms it.
The only evidence that we have is from Chris McDonough. I don't mind, by the way, John. I know you were saying earlier about the trip to Chimney Top Loop. I don't mind if you say that was actually because of Voices Behind the Wall. I don't mind mentioning other channels. But only because of Chris McDonough. I don't know how he did it, if he pulled rank or they worked with him or whatever. They recognized who he was from whatever the case may be. He says he saw video footage where they show the truck in the line for Walgreens.
I remember that. Because he went out there and did one of the very first things that he did was give us a walkthrough of the locations that Candace went to during that time.
Right, because the hospital had given Grandma a prescription for pain pills.
So this would have been the last location that would have had a camera. No. Because they went to the other stores too. So what store was the very last one Candace went to before she went to take Hunter back home? If you can remember.
It's priceless. As they tell it was priceless.
Priceless, okay.
Because they said they had stopped and picked up milk and a few other things. And that Hunter was in the vehicle with Summer when they went into the store.
When they went inside. Did they say how long they were in the store?
What they claim or what has been proven by employees at Priceless? Which do you want?
Both.
According to Grandma and Candace, they were there approximately 20, 25 minutes.
Okay.
According to the workers, it was more like 45, 50 minutes.
Mm-hmm. And there's something wrong with that timeline. Most certainly. Always has been, always will be.
Mm-hmm.
Because of these various different stopping places that they went to. And then dropping Hunter off just before heading back home, where we're on a time clock here that leads us to believe, according to Ronnie Lawson, between 2:30 and 6:30, just before they called the emergency line for assistance.
Mm-hmm.
4 hours.
So Lorraine Aldrich, what was directly across the street from H's house is a private facility that has a pool, similar to like a YMCA type of deal. It was more so geared to summer programs and having kids that the parents were working and so on. But Carrie Lawson, going back a little bit here, says that they were also at Catch 22, Hippie House, Sonic. Like we said, we talked about. There's never been any proof of cameras or things in the vehicle with Sonic. And Priceless. That was their main stops on the day, other than H's house,
Right.
and Warrior State Park.
And Candace never mentioned to Chris McDonough whatever happened to the pillow that Summer was sitting on so the seat wouldn't get wet, nor did she give any explanation as to what happened to the orange crushed soda that was sitting beside Summer in the seat.
Yes. Yes. Jerry, thank you for putting that up there, so I would remember to say that. This content is content and discussion is opinion based, or is all opinionated and alleged.
Gotta have our disclaimer up there.
Yes, look, the information we come up with, and I know I can speak freely of this, and when I say we, I do mean not just myself, not my mods when they're answering questions in the chat. I'm also speaking for John Q. And I feel very comfortable saying this, that when we bring information, the information that we bring is backed by facts that we know them to be true from the sources of law enforcement. Okay. In this, I am including Chris McDonough as part of, even though he's not official capacity in this particular, in Summer Wells as being law enforcement, he has a law enforcement background. Not everybody may agree with him, his tactics, or how he went about this. But in the course of an investigation, this is exactly how the police would have acted the way he did.
Yeah. And a lot of this was recorded by Chris McDonough in relation to the timeline that we're talking about, the places that Candace went that day, and a lot of the conversational pieces between Chris McDonough and Candace at the watering hole, Warrior State Park. That she had told him, she divulged to him. So that's what I have in my book to keep it nice and tight in terms of the facts. So at this point, we have them on their way home. They get home. Do you remember ever, and I'll ask this of the chat too, do you remember ever hearing Candace saying when Summer got out of the car?
The people that have been following me as of late, you know this answer. We know this answer. This is one of my biggest things that I point out. I'll give somebody a chance to see if they point this in the chat to say this before I do.
Yeah. What time did she get out of the car? What time did Candace tell us that Summer got out of the car to go into the house before they went to plant flowers? Anybody?
I know BB Diamond and Pink Butterfly are answering that sarcastically. Kate, thank you very much. She did not give us a time. She does not give us a time. In fact, she went as far as to say and make extra effort of saying that when they got back to home, that she went into the house to get the boys to help with the groceries. And then at that point, it was, and to let Summer out of the truck. But there was never a time. After the groceries, exactly, BB Diamond.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
It's interesting what we've been told because all of the narrative comes directly from Candace. The whole story to this case comes from her. Donald comes in when they have the interview.
Mm-hmm.
And then begins to back that narrative up himself.
Absolutely. Let me answer this real quick because I think I know where you're going. We're going to get there in a second. Lorraine, I simply was, and I apologize if I was, excuse me, I apologize if I was not clear. It's not easy to find records as far as doing a public search. In fact, to be honest, and I hate to say this, that it's easier to find a death certificate for Summer Wells than it is to find a birth certificate. Somebody on Ancestry.com, if you start doing an Ancestry search, has actually put a death certificate on Ancestry.com for Summer Wells. But John, back to what you were saying.
Mm-hmm. No, because, this is what's wrong with the narrative that the FBI had found out. There's a time opposition. The FBI tells Don and Candace that it is, and this is it. This is all you did that day.
Mm-hmm.
And wanted and specifically stated that they would need to go back over their timeline again, just in case they may have forgotten something, to put something in that timeline.
Right.
And I always scratched my head. Whoa, I said, why would they say that? Why on earth would they have mentioned that to Don and Candace? In other words, there's not enough here based on what you're telling us, according to the time you're giving us. Are you sure that this is all you did that day? And they had to revamp their timeline.
Exactly. John, which time?
Find it right.
Which time did they change it? I mean, let's be realistic. The timeline has been evolving. And if you pay attention, and Chris McDonough, again, I'm not blaming Chris McDonough. He was a catalyst for a lot of the changes. Because every single time he would out something that they either misspoke about or there was enough of a shift that it raised suspicion in his mind, a new version of a timeline came out. A new version came out.
Because that's the area that started shining light on me about the narrative that Candace told. I said, the FBI is not satisfied with the basic information that they told them the first time. And they suggested that they double check their timeline. And then that timeline went on the news when Don and Candace had their interview together, where they're sitting outside of the house on the side lot there next to Summer Swing.
And Susan Smith says, I have a question for RJ and John. If Candace was seen at 3:45 that day driving down Light Hollow Road, was this reported to TBI? And if so, why wasn't it? Those would search for Summer. Yes, that was actually reported. That was reported. They did search up and down Beach Creek Road and in the hollers that were around the area. I don't know if you heard me at the top of when John Q had joined me. We were talking about or before John Q. I don't remember if it was when or before the original 911 call that I heard as a local resident versus what Broadcastify had captured on their recording. There's a one cop call that is missing that I heard as a local. There was a cop on Light Hollow Road. And as soon as the first description of Summer Wells went out, he stopped patrolling and started going up and down Beach Creek Road and up and down the hollers and back roads in that area, searching for somebody matching the wrong description for Summer Wells. So yes, Beach Creek area and the hollers and the fields and the woods, they were searched.
Because you figure from that time response as to when they had gotten there, what it was at 6:30 to about 7:10.
So the timeline, it's a 40, there's a 45 minute window total from the initial 911 call and follow-up call from the other parents. They never, 911 dispatcher never only identifies the first caller to be the mom. Never identifies if it does later on say dad's coming home from work and it is about an hour away, but never fully identifies that it was him that called as the other parent. From the moment that first 911 call went out, the 911 dispatch call, to that 7:11, 7:15, somewhere in about that time, it was purely police response. And then when the shift commander finally got to the area, realized they had issues with controlling a scene, controlling the environment, because neighbors were out searching, and they as well as the officers were. It was approximately 7:11, 7:15, 7:05, in about there. I don't. The only reason, folks, I'm not trying to make a conspiracy theory out of this. I just don't know the time off the top of my head. It was at that later portion of time that they established a command center at Mount Carmel Church. And they had Churchill Rescue Squad come out just to be have a ambulance crew on site. That way, if any searcher got injured, or if they found Summer, or they needed any sort of assistance from a ambulance crew, they were already there ready. They were on Crazy Crime and Critters or something like that. The channel name is Miss Daisy's channel. Last night. That's for Jenna Connor. Sorry if I mispronounced your name.
Oh, I remember her. She was the one with the cowbell.
Yes. The one that you and I both went on and did some map work on her channel. Absolutely.
Right. Okay. I remember that now. It's coming back to me.
Yeah, that channel made a left turn at Albuquerque when they were supposed to be making a right. Hello, Lisa Kleckner.
A number of channels made a left turn to Albuquerque when they should have made a right.
Uh-huh.
Oh my goodness.
Something
Some of them
happens when
had
you get lost in that desert out there.
I'm
I'm telling you.
serious. Some of them had me cracking up, and oh Lord. Ah,
Yep. I repeatedly tell my people, and they'll agree with you. They'll agree with you as soon as they say it. Be careful who you listen to. I'm not telling you you have to listen to me. Be careful of who you listen to, because the information, the quality of the information is not the same.
yeah, definitely. Especially if you have someone telling you they love you and they love the man above and they follow, their faith accordingly, and 2 seconds later they're cursing you out. Oh my goodness. There we go. Miss Brooks is in the building.
Miss Brooks,
Miss
there's a
Brooks
link at the
is
top of the
in
chat. You're
the
welcome to grab it if
building.
you want to join us.
We're here talking about Summer Wells, and we're congratulating RJ for going over 300 subs on his channel. I love me some Miss Brooks. I'm telling you, she breaks it down like, and once again, and I, ditto what you said. You have to be careful where you get information from, specifically the Summer Wells case, because it is a roller coaster ride, as one of the
Thank you, Ms. Brooks. I appreciate that.
one of
Much
the
respect for
audience,
your channel and what
two
you
of my
do in the mornings.
two of my favorite people on the panel. Well, jump on up here, Ms. Brooks, if you got a minute. Say hello, because we send you much love always.
Absolutely. Miss Crime Lines and Lies, it breaks it down, and she does it at a time that I'm just waking up in the morning. So I feel sorry sometimes that I only say hello in the chat, but it's one of those, I'm still waking up and I gotta just listen. So
Yeah. But just before I forget too, remember the information that we were behind the scenes talking about?
oh yes, yes, yes.
Yeah, that information did go to TBI.
Yes, that's
Okay.
great. That's
Okay.
great.
Okay. I just wanted to make sure that I let you know, because I know that once we were able to compile that information, and it's the same information, Miss Brooks, that I spoke to you about, that did go over to TBI.
So I had an interesting point, and I don't remember where it went. We got started talking to Miss Brooks there. If she's still with us. Hello, Laurie P. Thank you for joining us tonight. There was a comment concerning an interview with Robin Lane. And my goodness, John, this is going to go back to that 5-hour video we did, or nearly 5-hour video we did. And we were just going and going, and it just all flowed perfectly. One point flowed right next into the other. Where there was a comment saying that the person found the interview with Robin Lane disturbing. I found more information about, and this is I didn't intentionally search this information. This information found me about Robin Lane that I think people will stop saying, and I'm not trying to discredit this person for what their point is, but I think people will, if you look at this, what the statement that Robin Lane had made about searching for Summer, and the interviews she had done about that, the church had a group of people that they had trained to go searching in the woods or in different settings for missing kids. So the comments that Robin Lane make about putting together, putting snacks in a bag, putting bottled water in a bag, and being ready to go out searching,
I remember that comment,
are not as unexpected or not as inappropriate, because as a Sunday school teacher, she would have been one of those people trained to go searching. And throwing stuff in a bag to eat and preparing to be out there all night, that would have been second nature to her if that training was consistent. It was she was amping up and ready to go search. She was like, let's do this right now. We need to find that little girl. It's not as bad or odd as a statement that she and the statements that she made now make even more sense in my mind. The statements that she made about searching even make more sense now. Let's see here. Tracy Day, be interesting to see what these scumbags are saying, but I can't stand either one of their voices. I feel so dirty afterward. I feel like, oh, wait a second. Tracy Day, my chat just jumped on me. I feel so dirty afterward, and I feel I need to exercise my room. I could use a quick recap. That says a lot, Tracy. Yeah. I don't think there is there is a. I'm just going to say I agree 100%. One of the reasons I like John Q and I like Miss Brooks a lot is I never have to worry about watching their videos and having Don Wells pop up in their chat room, because all hell would break loose and the Wells would never see it coming. Because they're not going to get the softball questions they have gotten. Not even remotely close to softball questions. It's going to be hard, fast, and right down the middle. And they're not. It's going to be swing and a miss every single time.
Yeah.
It seriously is and it's the same thing if they were to show up here on my channel. They're not going to show up here because they know that if they do, it's going to be ugly for them. Robin Lane, is that chick's odd or weird comment for? She really isn't. She has a natural bubbly personality, and she is a mama bear type, even though you wouldn't expect her to be when you talk to her, because she's so like meek and quiet.
Yeah, she's very sheltered. Yes.
But when it comes to protecting her kids and her Sunday school kids, she's 100% mama bear. And if you've seen the photos of her when she was up on stage at the church singing or speaking or anything like that, the way she treats Summer is just proof that she's mama bear. Any of her kids are just as if they are her kids.
Did they ever say who was actually videotaping Robin and Summer in church?
So that was okay. So the church, up until the incident for Summer Wells happened, and all the attention that they was getting and taking away from them having church services online, was just the church, and people were taking screenshots, still shots of it.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't somebody taking a photo. It wasn't somebody focusing a camera on them. It was just that they had to stop putting their church services out there online like they want to do, because everybody was focusing on, can we see what the Wells are doing? Can we see what Robin Lane was doing? And
I
how they
just
were
found it so
reacting,
strange, though.
interacting with Summer.
Yeah, no, I just found it so strange that when those videos, it was a video clip that showed up of how Summer was, being in church and how she was hugging Robin Lane. Robin would pick her up, put her
Mhm.
down, and just to say, it just hit me. I said, "Wait a minute." I said, "Who's shooting this video, and why are we seeing this particular video being shot the way it is?" You know, I wonder who's behind the camera, who had
Yeah,
taken this particular video the way they did. Because if you have a church, it's open to the public. And then when you do an SO search in the area, your eyes pop literally out of your head.
absolutely. Yeah, I mean, my goodness, how quick was it with that? I mean, bless their heart. Show that I live in the South for a moment. Bless their heart. The Wells should have never been sitting front row. Should have never sat in the front row
Yeah, I mean, it
because
just
they become a spectacle.
they went there to sleep. Actually, I guess.
Yeah. Who is it? I believe it's Mary that says or said that Don had always ran to religion anytime he was in trouble.
Oh, he certainly ran to it as quickly as he possibly could in this case.
Absolutely. Oh yeah.
You know,
Uh, that's
and
another thing, folks. You really got to look in his history of when he got in trouble and what he did when he did got in trouble. And if you look in the right places, you can see criminal history all the way back to Utah.
yeah, and what he was able to reveal about Utah, admittedly on YouTube, you know, you see two train tracks running parallel to each other.
Mm-hmm.
Somerwell's case, well, actually three. You have the CPS boys case. It's one of them. Very,
Mm-hmm.
very important because we don't know what they told TBI in regards to when Candace got home with Summer that day.
Oh yeah.
That's one. Two is Don's Utah connection and what he was able to admit on YouTube regarding his past. And that was explained very good and very well by Mr. Chris Madonna.
Mm-hmm.
He was able to elicit that information and get that out there for us.
Absolutely. John, if you would, I'm going to mute myself for just 2 minutes here, real quick.
Yeah.
Go ahead and expand on that some, if you would,
Okay.
because I know I have people that know Summerwell's story, but I have gotten some people that are new to it, and I think a good refresher would be of information would be an excellent thing to do, if you don't mind.
No, but of course not. Don't mind at all. Um, that's the second train track. And the third train track is Summer Wells missing. When you put all three of those running parallel, they're going in a specific direction. This is where RJ and RJ agree that there should be as I feel that there may be pending indictments in regards to all three cases. And the Attorney General, being who he is, who did make a statement during the course of the case, advised the TBI as well as the sheriff's office in regards to evidence that they had brought to him for his review to take to a grand jury. And so that's still on the table. But yet they're waiting for either one or two pieces just to tighten it up. But you have a 3 tracks, 3 trains running in one direction. And I've always said, Candace is on that train, Don is on that train, and Grandma's on that train. Those are the 3 people on that train. Because all of them are familiar with the same place. All of them. And there's a connection being made regarding where the tracks are going to meet. One does bleed over into the other, where you have the CPS case with the boys will bleed over to that because of Summer. Summer's case bleeds over into the boys' case as well. And then obviously you have main case concerning Don and his history, which he divulged on YouTube about himself and about his behavior, especially when it came to other women and what happened. Y'all know what I'm talking about. Y'all know what I'm talking about. So as complex as things may be for the Summer Wells case, yeah, it'll all unravel. And in God's speed, all of it is and will unravel.
And when it does, it's not going to be a long, drawn-out unravel. It's going to be wham, bam, thank you, ma'am. It's done.
Yeah,
it really is. It's like I believe, and I've said this before, and I'll say it again when it's this type of statements. This is going to be a situation where you're not going to hear anything. Everything's radio silent, like it is right now.
mm-hmm.
If you look at it, there's no statements by Ellie, no statements by the DA, nothing going on. They know, and they have known for a while, what the most likely outcome in this is. And they are sitting there waiting for that one piece of information, and they really do want that one piece of information to be Summer herself.
Yeah.
Whether it's rescue or recovery, they want this to be that piece of information to be Summer. And when they do so, it's going to be everything just all of a sudden, it's in grand jury's hands. True bills are returned, and people are going to be arrested. And then locals are going to hear about it. And then from there, word will spread rapidly. It's not going to be this loud, huge thing. It's going to be that who is a real local and really paying attention to this. And I say paying attention to who are the real locals, because I have suspicion that somebody out there is saying they are local and they are not. I'm working on proving this. That it's going to be those that are the real locals will know about it, and they will be ones that start spreading the news that Summer is that the charges were returned, that people were arrested, and they'll be dropping the names of who was arrested. Exactly. Carrie Lawson says it exactly. And then click, clank. That's it. That's how the South works around here. When it gets really quiet like it is, something's up. It's the calm
And that's
before
it.
the storm.
Yeah. I was looking at Where's Summer statement. I believe the reason Don went to the SDA church was because they did community service for the stuff that he got into trouble with in October. He was probably ordered to do so.
Hmm.
That's a
That
very interesting comment.
yeah. I believe there was some community service or hours he had to do part of his the sentencing. So that is a good point. That is a good point.
Mm-hmm.
No, no, Bailey TT. You rest assured, this is beyond. At this point, with the amount of man hours and the amount of time that is spent with local, with TBI, with FBI, with Secret Service possibly even being involved, the DA around here is not looking for a deal. This is going to be its full court hearing. You're doing time, and the judge is going to decide. Judge or jury is going to decide.
Yeah, especially with the information that comes back out of Utah.
Mm-hmm. Oh, definitely, definitely. Miss Justice, I thank you for being part of the live tonight, even though you can only be listening. I appreciate that. I really do.
Yes, and much love to every single one of you sharing and spending your time with RJ and myself tonight.
So Pink Butterfly, I honestly don't know you well, because I don't think I've seen you in chats before, my chats before. I'm in agreement with Chris McDonough. While we can sit here and talk about all the theories and all the different where different angles of evidence point us, the truth is you cannot leave 110 Ben Hill Road. There is nothing compelling you to leave 110 Ben Hill Road.
That's where it all started.
Exactly. I will say I'm stuck on Ben Hill Road. I'm stuck on Ben Hill Road and those who lived on Ben Hill Road at the time of Summer's disappearance.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I can honestly say some people stand out more than others. And some people, I don't think the statement of nobody's ever been cleared actually is true. But, well, Pink Butterfly, I think I've seen you in other chats, but I'm saying I've never really had time to, I never conversed with you before. But I believe, and I stand by, I believe there are 4 adults that are at the center of the investigation that the investigation really does focus on. And they all lived on Ben Hill Road, either currently or at the time that Summer Wells disappeared. Now, it may be involving outward from those individuals that we don't know about yet, but it's still, it gets back to Ben Hill Road. It stays at Ben Hill Road. And trust me, I appreciate you being here. I hope you like the content that I put out, or we are putting out tonight.
Yes, and come back. Come back. come back.
Absolutely. Please come back.
You are welcome here, most certainly. But I'm going to jump down. Brother
Okay.
RJ, congratulations again on your 300 hit,
Thank you.
and many, 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 many more to come.
We're
I
we're
know it.
working we're working hard behind the scenes, and I look forward to working with you more in the future as well as making getting this channel and get the message of what we believe to be the truth, the facts based truth out there. Because when all else ends, no matter what anybody else speculates, the only thing that matters is the facts of what happened. John, you're being asked a question in the chat, so I'm going to be quiet so you can answer. BB Diamond wants to know if there's a quick update you can give on Daniel Robinson.
Oh, yes. I'll be going live tomorrow night. I'm going to be doing a special table talk, reconnect with my folks. And I spoke with David Robinson just about an hour, no, about an hour and a half ago. And we're looking to get ready to do another collaboration. Well, I'm going to have Mr. Robinson on my channel, and he's going to give us an update as best as he can at the time, because all the information that he's working with is sensitive information, because he is now speaking with the FBI in regards to Daniel's Jeep being on federal land in the desert. And I
Oh,
was just, yeah. And so hopefully he can make those inroads. And I've been looking at some things this afternoon pertaining to the location of Daniel's Jeep and 23 miles plus an 11-mile overage as to why that was. His first investigator stated that Daniel's Jeep was in two crashes. The first one deployed the airbags, and then went 11 miles further before it showed up in the ravine. And I looked for those 11 miles, and I was able to locate precisely where the 11-mile marker is. So I'll be able to share that along with some additional updates I'm going to be covering tomorrow night on Table Talk on my channel. So thank you for asking. Baby Diamond.
yes, BB Diamond, excellent question. Thank you
Baby
very much.
Diamond.
There's a follow-up question of asking what time?
8:30 Eastern. 8:30 Eastern. I'll be posting it later on soon as I get food in my system. And then I'll go ahead and post it for tomorrow night, because I have a live concerning the roundtable, another project that I'm working on, where we are discussing the Shanquella Robinson case, the young lady, 25 years old, who lost her life in Cabo, Mexico, when she took a vacation trip with 6 other of her friends, and she didn't come back home. There was an assault. She lost her life. The friends came back and told her parents that she died of alcohol poisoning. Shortly thereafter, the family found out from the funeral home down in Cabo that her neck was broken, along with a broken back.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
And they're saying
So
alcohol poisoning.
yeah, and they came back and said alcohol poisoning. So there's some foul play going on there. So I'll be doing an update with 54 Keys and Bossman Blake on 54 Keys' channel tomorrow night regarding the Shanquella case.
Okay. Great to hear that. I don't know about the Shanquella case much, but I mean, it's not great to hear that. It's great to hear you're going to be live talking about it tomorrow.
Yeah, I mean, I've taken a couple of weeks off because we were prepping for the Shanquella Robinson case. I was prepping for the Daniel Robinson update at the same time, and taking a look at some follow-ups that I'm working on. You have the West boys case, California City boys, December 2020, when they went missing.
Mhm.
Parents call 911.
That should be trial coming up very soon, shouldn't
Yeah,
it?
it's hot now. It's hot now. Trial should be starting sometime this month. In fact, they just had a motion to schedule the month out and when the trial date should officially start. And I think if not the 15th, they're shooting for the 25th of this month to get things up and running. So we should be hearing something from that particular case, as well as the Breonna Taylor case. So John Q has got his hands, all over the table here. So I'll be giving a few updates tomorrow night on that.
Absolutely. That's great.
But thanks for having me. Thanks for having me. You told me to jump
Absolutely.
up here. I said, oh, okay, I got to go see my brother.
Well, yeah, I had when I started the live tonight, I said I don't know if we'll have any guests, but if we do have any other creators that are going to jump up, and then in addition to, I had it set that it was an open panel. Anybody that was willing to come up was welcome to come up. But I said if I had any creators that I worked with in the past, show up in the chat or look forward to working in the future, hopefully. I was going to tell them to grab the link and join me. And not so much to say, hey, congratulations, but I do appreciate that. But it's been a journey, and we have done a lot of work on multiple cases, some that were lesser known. Me, and you've heard me talk about a 2-day-old child being missing, and we found out what happened to that 2-day-old child. Which thankfully that 2-day-old child is still in foster care. I'm drawing a mental blank on the child's name, but I think you know who I'm talking about. The case in Florida.
Ooh, now you got me drawing a blank.
Yeah,
you got me drawing a blank now. Oh my God! So when you have your hands in so many different cases, name after name after name after name, you say, God, please slow this train down.
And it doesn't.
It's happening day after day after day, week after week, month after month.
Yeah, and that train does not slow down.
Absolutely.
Unfortunately.
As far as them I think there was a motion from the regarding the California City Boys case. The defense attorneys had made a motion to dismiss the case in regards to some kind of missing evidence. That hasn't been proven, or light hasn't shed on that particular statement that was made, but we'll soon see, because the judge has already scheduled everything out for trial. Mm-hmm. So as a good defense attorney would, they have to put it on the table, to try to get all of these allegations dismissed as quickly as possible, to see what the judge will say. But we need to hear what the judge is going to say. And in my opinion, with the overwhelming evidence that the DA, Miss Cynthia Zimmer, put together and presented to the grand jury, not only to get one indictment, but two in the same case, back to back, because they have a material witness that may have been a part in the demise of the boys. Mm-hmm. So we'll see what the judge says.
Is there been any new information on the boys about one of them being the witness to what happened, or even a participant in what happened?
Right. They're one of their 6 children, one being the oldest, believe it was 10 or 11 at that time, was, according to the second indictment, was a part of some cruelty.
And it was under the instruction of the
And it
parents,
was
if I
under
remember
the
correctly.
instructions of the parent. Correct.
Mm-hmm.
Correct. And so once that's on the table, once the DA puts that part on that's going to be very interesting, because that's the witness that's going to be on the stand testifying as to when, where, how, why, everything. And so, the second indictment, I believe, has the smoking gun built in it.
Mm-hmm.
So that will be very interesting to see as it unfolds. We're going to be keeping a careful eye on the case developments. If Court TV, which I'm sure is going to give some kind of coverage, some kind of overview from the proceedings on a day-to-day basis as the trial unfolds, to let us know what's going on, who took the stand, what was said, et cetera, et cetera. So, and then we'll be on my channel, having conversation about it, giving updates from that point. All right.
Yeah, no, everything's fine. I'm actually working on it because everybody was asking in the chat what child I was talking about that was missing, the 2-day-old child. I believe it was this. I'm sorry, I'm looking up. So yes, this is it right here. I found it. 2-month-old was from Fort Pierce, Florida, Azan Lisby, Lisby.
Lisby. Oh.
We had talked about that.
Oh, right. Okay. Yeah, but I didn't cover that on my channel.
No, I'm saying I did.
Yeah. Yeah.
And if you pull up that name, what you really need to do is take a look at the parents. Oh boy. Oh boy. Okay. Recap of what happened with Azan Lisby. There is no photo of Azan Lisby. I happened just out of pure coincidence, and I will tell you this is pure coincidence, stumbled on what happened. He was 2 days old. They left the hospital, and instead of going home and going to any follow-up doctor's appointments, they actually went on a drive. And they drove around Florida for weeks. The reason they put an endangered child alert on Azan Lisby after they found him, it had come out that the parents were wanting to be questioned for a older child of theirs that had died from malnutrition. Subsequently, those parents have been arrested. There, from what I've not found a more recent update than I believe it's been the last 6 months. That the child is doing well in foster care, and the parents are still behind bars, where they belong. Lock the door, throw away the key.
Wow.
My opinion. That's my opinion. It's lock the door, throw away the key, because they killed a child, an older child of the Azan Lisby, 2 days.
2 days old?
2 days old.
2 days old. Wow.
I'm sorry. No, I apologize. The person in the chat is correct. I'm not looking at the chat. It's 2-month-old baby. I'm looking at Yahoo News. actionnewsjax.com is where I found the story. It's showing up on Yahoo News. It does say 2-month-old. I apologize.
Yeah, 2 days, 2 months. It's a child.
A baby.
You know what I mean?
Let's just look at it this way. It's a baby that you're not providing the most necessary care for of follow-up visits.
Wow.
I'm going to go ahead and throw that name in the chat so anybody wants to look into what happened with that. And this is where I started noticing. This is where I personally started noticing. If you heard me in chat saying that there's an issue with the Amber Alert system, this is where I start noticing there are major issues with the Amber Alert system. Okay, I'm putting the baby's name in the chat here. I would rather post the baby's name than post the parents' names.
Miss Lynn is in the house. Adoptionscams.com just showed up. Much love to you, Miss Lynn. Yeah, so I'm going to run. Hope to see you guys tomorrow night, 8:30 New York time Eastern.
If you can count on it.
We're going to be giving some updates on those, a few cases, and I'm going to be touching base with my folks. It was a pleasure being here with you all. And once again, congratulations, Mr. 300 and moving on.
Absolutely. Moving forward, always.
Absolutely. All right. Well, definitely take care. Be well and stay blessed with Godspeed, everyone.
Thank you, John. I hope you have a wonderful rest of the evening.
Yes, you too. You too.
Bye. There you go, folks. The history between John Q and I. He found out about me because of we started talking about Michael Vaughn and we got seriously talking about Summer Wells, and we realized we're very like-minded and we work well together, and we've made some really good videos either on his channel or my channel about Summer Wells. BB Diamond, I want to thank you very much also for speaking up for Pink Butterfly. I wasn't questioning Pink Butterfly. I was simply saying that I hadn't interacted with her before, and I appreciate her having the courage to speak up and ask questions. It can be intimidating to do so when you don't know a person, and I was trying to be careful of my answer because we hadn't had time, a lot of interaction. But I appreciate you vouching for her. I did notice that. Let's see here. I'm just going to hang in here for a few more moments. If anybody's got any more questions or want to talk a little bit more, even come up and join me. I've been up and talking since 9 o'clock this morning, folks. So my voice is getting tired if you can't hear it. It's just the way Saturdays go for me. So give it another 10 minutes or so, and I'm going to be ending we're going to be closing out the stream. Diana Oder Kirk. I think you had mentioned something. The problem is it can be infiltrated by hackers. Diana, what's this? I'm not understanding this comment. Does anybody give me more information on it? Or Diana, if you want to give more information on it? AZZONLISBY. AZZAN, my apologies. AZZANLSBY. Azan Lisby. That was a typo on my part. Thank you. BB Diamond, you had caught that? But that is a very sad story. What the parents had done. And just to get into that, BB Diamond, I will not. No way. I don't believe in doing that unless you come in here and say some god awful things, F word, the every other word, and are causing a huge disruption and not participating in the conversation. My mods and I will not go about blocking people. I have simple rules. No, it's cool, BB Diamond. You're fine. I know you were joking, but I'm just pointing out there that I have simple rules with my chat and my lives. If you're contributing to the conversation and not giving a circular argument, what you need to say, as long as it's said respectfully, with respect to anybody I have on my live panel, or in my respectfully to anybody in the live chat, you're golden with me. The reason about the circular argument or circular conversations is because I frankly can't stand them. They're a pet peeve. Oh, that's fine, Diana. I must have missed a comment, and I was catching what you were saying, and so I appreciate your honesty with that. Pink butterfly. The only thing I can't stand is a circular argument. BB Diamond, I'm not worried about it. I don't worry about what somebody else says is in another chat. In fact, recently there was a chat that Carrie Lawson kept getting timed out for. And I was in there lurking, just watching chat, and I caught what was going on. She kept getting timed out, and there was no justified reason. Well, I ended up speaking up. If I know you and I know that something's going on, it's not justified in my mind, I speak up for my people. Jam 420, thank you for just joining me. I appreciate that. Jam 420, that is the whole intention of my channel. We're going to have a conversation. And if I'm not presenting information that's challenging what you know, or even more, bringing up more questions and inspiring you to research more, as well as I will be researching more, as well as my mods research more, then I'm not doing what my channel's intended to do. Carrie's awesome. Carrie is awesome. Belly T, that's exactly it. That's exactly what it's about. There's so much misinformation my channel has from day one. Even though I give you my opinion, it's always been about the facts. If I can't back what I'm saying with the facts, I don't say it here. If I'm researching something and I have a question about something, and guys, I'm going to plug my Discord again. Email me if you would love to have that kind of access to me, or like I said, I only go live 2 or 3 times a week. If you want to find out more about my mods, or with me, or what we're working on, or you want to be more involved, get involved in my Discord, because sometimes I put information in my Discord that I won't bring here on YouTube. I'll talk about things on my Discord that I will not talk about on YouTube, because I just don't feel that the attention that an individual, or the attention that a topic is the direction that I want to be going in. But I'll still talk about it in my Discord. Carrie's been dropping my email all night, so if you guys need to, I'm sure she'll drop it again in just a moment. Hey, Cosplay, I know you've been having a busy night. BB Diamond, are you not, you don't know what Discord is? Oh, Bailey TT, that is never going to happen. I have plans for another channel, and the subject matter of that channel has nothing to do with kids, missing kids. When I have the time to sit down and get that channel set up, and the topic matter, the topics that will be on that channel, I have absolutely zero issue in my mind of being if once I get the appropriate amount of people to monetize that channel. But this channel is never ever going to be monetized. I will not ever want to make a penny off of talking about a missing kid. And my YouTube channel is exactly that. We talk about missing kids. We will talk about current events, like when there was a mass shooting happening at the mall just a few weeks ago. I believe it was in Houston. We were listening to Broadcastify, listening to what was going on from the police. Marie Design, yes, I do have an email. Carrie Lawson has been putting it out there. It is in my About section of my YouTube page as well. At least I believe I put it there. Okay. So everything, adoptionscams.com. There is a piece of information that the Broadcastify did not capture that I heard locally. There was an officer on Light Hollow Road, normal patrol purposes, approximately the time the 911 dispatch call went out for Summer Wells being missing. With the misinformation that the parents had given of Summer Wells being 4 years old, that officer broke patrol, his normal patrol route, and started going up and down Beach Creek Road and through the different hollers and the back roads in that area, searching for Summer. He was not the first officer to make contact with the parents. He was just searching the area with the description that he had. It was actually the second officer that would have made contact with the responding officer that made contact with the Wells. I'm going to go ahead and add this information on there. If you're have not been on Ben Hill Road, there's been controversy that the Wells say that people just show up and park on Ben Hill Road. It's impossible to park on Ben Hill Road near their driveway. It's designated as a 2-lane road, meaning it's not designated as one-way traffic. But you park a car on that road, and nobody is getting up or down Ben Hill Road. Hello, Justice Jane. Thank you for coming out tonight. You cannot physically get another vehicle up or down Ben Hill Road if you park on Ben Hill Road, unless you're going to put your car in the ditch. Or park in the creek. You're not parking on Ben Hill Road. No. BB Diamond, guys, you're gonna love me. This is a moment you're gonna love me. We're gonna do this real quick. John and I were just talking about this a little while ago. Man, when we go and pull out a map, watch out. Watch out, folks. Here we go. And I'm going to change the direction a little bit here, if this will let me. If not, I'll go with what we got. Okay. 110 Bend Hill Road. This is the lower shed right here. Okay. This road, I've zoomed in as far as I can. You cannot park on Ben Hill Road. It's not as wide as Google Maps makes it to be. You can fit one car up, one car down at a time. Google Maps makes this look like it's wider than it is. And once you get above where I've gone with Ben Hill Road here, right about here, there's a split. Might be a little bit off, maybe here. There's a split in the road. And it turns to a dirt road. Gravel road. Oh, wait. I was off. My apologies. It's right here. Simpson Road, Ben Hill Road. My apologies. I didn't go far enough down. It's when it gets past here on Ben Hill Road. There it is. It's now dirt road. It's a dirt road here. One other thing I want you to take a look at. Back here, we're going to come all the way back here. In my channel, if you've been following me, you know one thing. I have been hyperly focused, and I will be hyperly focused on whether or not you can see the lower shed. This is taken June 2013. June 2013. Where is the lower shed? We're facing the right direction. Where is it? This is Ben Hill Road right here. Right here is Ben Hill Road. How the hell did he see the lower shed if he was coming down Beach Creek Road to know that his boys were at the lower shed? Thank you, Mimi Jean. And thank you for coming out to my channel tonight. There is no possibility, even today. Okay, granted, today being it's still winter and the trees don't have leaves on them yet. I'm meaning that if he was there June today, June this year, he's still not seeing the lower shed. It's not possible. That's the most recent. It's June 2013. I'm using an app for right now. I'm not using Google Maps website, so this has an older version, but still it's still applicable. The brush over there has not changed. Right. So, pink butterfly, there's reasons behind that. You would think that if you're struggling for money, it would just be okay. We're going to go to the town deed and we're going to divvy up this property sum and we're going to sell a portion of it off. They can't. They can't do so. It's part of the terms of a uh, um, how they got the property from inheritance. I'd have to look at the exact details of it, but I know that I know there's a couple stipulations. One is they cannot sever the property like that, and number two is that Candace cannot be inherit or gain from the sale of this property. I'm just gonna zip down 347 here, so I can show you that this was the right direction. That was Ben Hill Road because right up here around the bend, voila, there it is. The lower shed. Once in Ben Hill Road. Oh no, Pink Butterfly, please do not feel that you have to apologize for asking a question or making a statement that you may have been misinformed. We are all about getting the facts right. The more well informed you are, and it's not to put down what anybody said, but it's just simply to get the facts out there and get them right. Bailey, as much as I would love to make a comment on Rose, I don't know enough about her case, and I've been focused on Summer Wells. I do believe they are not just because of familial ties. I believe there's a reason there's both have gone missing. I've just not sat down to look into them and actually tear into Rose. One of these days, I'll get the gumption to do so and just go crazy. Because I'm one of those people like I follow. When I say get focused on it, I get focused on it. That lower shed, no, 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 no. You can't do that. That's actually a feed shed, and it is beyond repair at this point. It's a tear down. They're going to have to tear that down because it's actually got parts of the roof that are now caving in the center, and it's beyond repair. All right, guys. I've stayed on longer than I intended to. You guys have had some absolutely excellent questions. I want to thank you. I also thank John Q again for joining me. And if anybody in the future wants to join me live to talk about things, go over information with Summer Wells or any other case that I cover, you're more than welcome to. We can sit down and work it out a schedule or work out a time that we're both free to do so. I'm always welcome to a conversation with others. Thank you, Carrie, again for dropping John Q's live channel for people to look. If you don't already know John Q, he is a very good person to listen to. When he goes onto a topic, he knows his stuff. No, thank you, John, because I began my show tonight by saying I have people that are day zero people. They are people that are catalysts that help me and encourage me to have a channel. Carrie Lawson, cosplay, they are one. They are two of my day zero people. John, you and Miss Q are also my day zero people. I will always have the respect and welcome you in my channel. Folks, it is 11:30 at night. And as I say on every closing up, when we have it live, do you know where your kids are tonight? If you do, give them an extra hug. Make sure that you know that you love them. Make sure that they know that no matter what is on their mind or their heart, they can come and talk to you. Once again, if you liked what you heard tonight, please hit that like button, subscribe button, and notification bell. That way, you know when I go live again. This has been Conversations Living Room. I am RJ. I hope everyone has a wonderful night. I'm out.